Tonight, shockwaves in Washington after Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, once one of President Trump's staunchest defenders, said she's resigning from Congress in January before her term is up. Greene made the surprise announcement in a video she posted on X Friday night, marking a dramatic break with President Donald Trump.
Another Republican has stepped down, and honestly, it's hard to be surprised at this point. Donald Trump's popularity seems to be sinking like a rock. After all, this is a guy who sent a violent mob to the Capitol and somehow manages to find new lows even after that. We're living in quite a time. Many Republicans who have been in Trump's administration are now trying to deflect by leaking information to the press. When that strategy doesn't work, they just go ahead and publicly attack the media. But when everything crumbles apart, it leaves them with only one option: resigning. That's exactly what one Republican did today, and it has Trump absolutely melting down on Truth Social.
The president responded with a post on Truth Social calling her a traitor. He suggested this morning when speaking with reporters that she could not survive a primary challenge.
I said, go your own way, and once I left her, she resigned because she would never have survived a primary. But I think she's a nice person.
Before diving into the details, let's take a moment to look at the bigger picture. Trump's unpopularity. Chris Hayes has been on the ground reporting some of the most insightful pieces about what's currently happening in Minneapolis and the brave stand of that community. It's essential to start here because it's the reason behind all these Republicans abandoning Trump's administration.
Minneapolis, where hundreds, probably thousands of people have gathered despite temperatures well below zero. People are screaming ICE out, and there's a lot of signs calling for justice for Renee Good, the mother of three who was shot by an agent earlier this month.
This feeling of dread seems to encapsulate what many Americans think about Donald Trump right now. His approach to illegal mass deportation. Americans overwhelmingly dislike it. The tariffs, same story. And there's this sense of frustration over how everything in our daily lives has taken a turn for the worse. From our favorite late-night talk shows disappearing to even the social media and news apps we use becoming strained by various issues. It's no wonder people are so agitated with Donald Trump. He's managed to negatively impact nearly every aspect of life, and it feels like he's stamped his name on all of it. The Kennedy Center has been in the news lately for a surprising reason. Another resignation has just taken place. Kevin Couch, who was recently announced as their senior vice president of artistic programming, decided to step down less than 2 weeks after he was hired.
Tonight, Trump announced he plans to close the Kennedy Center for about 2 years for construction, starting in July. He writes, quote, "I have determined that the Trump Kennedy Center, if temporarily closed for construction, revitalization, and complete rebuilding, can be, without question, the finest performing arts facility of its kind anywhere in the world."
It's pretty wild that he made this move right after the announcement, which came out on January 16th. The center even shared the news on Twitter a few days later, and then bam, just a week into the job, he's out. Couch confirmed his resignation on a Wednesday, but didn't share any further details, which just adds to the mystery. The Kennedy Center, in response to requests for comments, has remained mum on the situation. Interestingly, Couch's name was removed from the executive administration webpage, which is quite telling. When he was brought on board, the Sense president, Rick Grinnell, had praised him, highlighting that he was expected to bring a fresh perspective to the programming there. But clearly, things aren't all sunshine and rainbows at the Kennedy Center.
Political media are missing the fact that a Republican president has saved the then Kennedy Center. He literally came here, and we're in a unique position to have a president who's also a builder. And I knew when I came here and I saw how decrepit this place was, how it was falling apart financially and physically.
Especially with Donald Trump throwing his 2 cents in on Truth Social. He seems to be in a bit of a spiral, blaming the place for its long-standing financial troubles. Trump mentioned that he stepped in to help fix the deficits, claiming it was a mess before he got involved. It's honestly hard to believe he said that out loud. Now, with more people quitting and the situation getting tense, one has to wonder who actually wants to take on the challenge of running the Kennedy Center.
President Trump is now officially the new chair of the Kennedy Center. Today, the board voting him into that new role after the president announced he was assuming the spot and would fire board members. According to CBS News, the president wants to reshape the center and move away from what he views as woke culture. Sources say the White House has started filling open board member spots.
It really feels like a tough gig, especially with the pressure mounting and Trump's antics complicating things. It's hard to picture many artists willing to put the Kennedy Center on their lips after everything Donald Trump has done. That's just how life goes in America these days. He swoops in, creates chaos, and divides people. At some point, we really need to start addressing those who have enabled him, calling them out as they deserve with a good dose of disdain. They might shout loudly, thinking it makes them right, but honestly, we can't keep tolerating this nonsense. I want to take a moment to share a clip where Tim Miller puts a rude Republican in their place on Piers Morgan's show. This ties into the craziness we see happening at the Kennedy Center. And trust me, you're going to love every second of this. It's the kind of message we definitely need to hear.
And this whole thing about this definition of masculinity, okay? It's like the tough guys are the six mass goons pushing down a woman, pushing down a protester, and then getting scared. Oh, they saw a gun, and I got so scared, and I've got to shoot my bullet. Boom, 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 10 times.
Bravo to Tim for that. This is exactly how we should deal with Republicans. No holds barred. They're not serious. They're disgusting and depraved, hopeless, and well beyond help. It's wild that the NRA is actually condemning Trump for saying he's taken away firearms, practically saying there's no more Second Amendment for certain folks, and yet some Republicans still back him up, coming up with all sorts of bizarre defenses. They even dug up a clip to justify their stance that because Alex Prey yelled at an ICE agent days before, it somehow makes his murder okay. It's bonkers. So there's this guy named Alex Freddy, and he really let loose on an ICE agent. It seems like the ICE folks were right in the middle of his community, and it's hard not to see how people could react strongly to that. People are just fed up. They don't have to be provocators to shout out, "Get lost." And honestly, I'm right there with them. I'm sick of dealing with all this. It's exhausting to keep listening to these folks and pretend we're on the same page when clearly some of them don't belong here. Let's be honest. These individuals shouldn't have a place in our society. Their opinions shouldn't hold any weight, and we really don't need to listen to what they have to say. It's high time we put a stop to that nonsense. This isn't just some off-the-cuff remark. It ties into how Donald Trump operates. He's all about silencing anyone who doesn't fit his mold, whether it's based on skin color, who they love, or how they identify. He's used every trick in the book to try to shut these voices down. So, frankly, I don't think it's extreme to say that if you've worked for ICE, you should be looking for new work. I wouldn't want to see you in any government position ever again. It should be like a scarlet letter. You took part in this mess. You voted for him. That's all I need to know. I've had enough, and I'm not in the mood to forgive and forget. We need maximum accountability. That's how we can move forward. Let's learn from the mistakes of the past and make it clear that we can never let these individuals gain any influence in our society again. And sure, there are plenty of folks who cast votes for Trump, but look at all the people who didn't even bother showing up at the polls. Those are the ones we should focus on reaching out to. Instead of trying to play nice with a handful of Republicans, let's cater our message to the people who feel disillusioned, the ones who think politics isn't working for them. Let's work together to fix what's broken. Zohran Mamdani really sparked the biggest turnout I've seen in quite a while in New York City. It's time we focus on putting forward inspiring candidates and fresh ideas rather than catering to those misguided folks. Honestly, I just don't want to be part of a society like that. I'd rather drown out their voices than listen to what they've got to say, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Some might label that as being a bad person or having a flawed approach, but I'm done taking them seriously because they clearly aren't serious people. Kudos to you, Tim, for boycotting the Kennedy Center. Let's not even acknowledge it by its new name, and let's call out these individuals when we see them, because we definitely will on this show. That's my little rant for the night. If you want to show your support, feel free to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. If you've made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments.